gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedules and being here in this very topical session on the workplace of the future, organized jointly by ETCIO and CISCO. The Internet of Everything is reshaping every aspect of our lives, including how and where we work. Employees are spread across the globe, it's tough to attract and retain talent, and innovation at speed is critical. Engagement of employees with customers is extremely important as customers today buy experiences and not just products. The answer to all these challenges is cutting-edge cognitive collaboration that leverages artificial intelligence and machine learning to augment in-person and distributed collaboration experiences. It describes a fundamental shift in how people work together and leverage technology to foster human relationships, build better customer experiences, and ultimately achieve team goals faster. This roundtable today, gentlemen, will provide insights into how IT leaders can foster deeper relationships with their teams with contextual insights and people profiles, create more meaningful and proactive customer interactions, build high-performance teams across organizations, reduce technology friction points, and easily personalize integrated experiences. And joining me in this discussion today, on my right, is Mr. Vishal Shah. He's the head of collaboration for commercial business at CISCO. So let's get on with the discussion, gentlemen. We have a very diversified group of technology leaders here. We've got healthcare, telco, IT, ITAS, BFSI, pharma. So to start off the discussion, gentlemen, I feel digital transformation is really the buzzword these days. It's redefining the way businesses is done across verticals, across enterprises. But when we talk about digital, what comes to a CIO's mind immediately is analytics, cloud, all that kind of stuff. While when collaboration is really actually not there, high up on his priority list. So what are your thoughts on this? If I may set the ball rolling. How critical is communication for an enterprise today? If we, talk about from a technology standpoint. Sir?
We are also using so many technologies and trying to improve the customer experience and the internal experience of the users also. And the competition is more nowadays, and you have to be ahead from your competitors also. And you have to balance between your the transformation journey and taking care of the other the compliance and the security. These are the challenges are there. You have to maintain the balance in the system.
From service delivery side, yes, collaboration is first and foremost what I feel. Yeah, while we are using all different technologies, but this is something I personally feel is a hygiene. Okay, if you see, like we are using a lot of platforms, okay, for collaboration. But a couple of years before, it was like mostly silo way. Okay, what I am doing, other teams inside same function doesn't even know what is happening. So, and now customer is also very dynamic. They want to know everything upfront. Okay, I think a very good robust platform today, what we have deployed is really helping us. Okay, and I totally agree with your point. Instead of talking about analytics, probably look at collaboration first, how we can really bring everyone on the same platform and deliver better.
Okay, great. Sir?
Yeah, it's the same perspective in our company as well. The customer is more educated and more dynamic. He's always expecting things to happen immediately, to know the statuses or the deliveries, anything in that perspective. So digitalization is just moving faster, and we are always concentrated on that. So he is not betrayed on that moment.
Sure. So do you feel like the gentleman said that collaboration should be made part of the digital transformation journey of an organization?
Yes, collaboration is the key, and what we also think is the business models are changing because of the digital strategies. So participative model, freemiums, so those are the models through which companies need to change their business model. So standard offerings, yes, but the way the businesses are conducted are changing. The landscape itself is changing. So participative model is engaging the customers, suppliers, vendors, and a new look at the value chain is also needed end to end. So how the bargaining power of suppliers, yes, it is increasing, but at the other end in B2B businesses, how business is conducted is also changing. So the margins is depleting at one end does not really mean it can be, it passed on the entire value chain. So,
Sure.
every player in the value chain needs to look at the entire thing and see where they can position their products. So, and in all of this, as they said, the collaboration, the inception of new technologies will play a great deal of, it will play its own role. So, and to monetize it also. How to, it's not only incepting new technology, but how to monetize it for the
Sure.
benefit of the business.
Right. Right. So basically ROI, the critical
Yes.
for any technology implementation, definitely.
The other thing is the speed at which a product which we launch to the customer. Being in the banking sector now, the technology has changed, the requirement of the customers have changed. And even with the collaboration, even with a lot of integration with many of the fintech companies, banks are now in a position to deliver a loan within 20 minutes. Even our bank is in the digital transformation journey right now. We have also come up with certain products wherein a car loan can be released within half an hour time to a customer. So mainly it is the competition and also the push from the government of India, the digital India, and also the requirements from all the statutory requirements and all the regulatory requirements from the Reserve Bank of India, all those things we need to take care of. So it's the speed at which we can actually deliver the products and involvement of all the companies. It's basically the collaboration between all the.
Ajay sir?
See, I think collaboration should not be the goal of digitization. Actually, it is the path on which you travel and then you achieve digitization, right? Collaboration is a tool to achieve that if you talk about internal within the enterprise, right? Outside the enterprise, all you want is a customer, his money, his order, his satisfaction, his re-coming over to you and you again, more recall value and a good experience. And to achieve that internally, you need to surely have a good environment, and you won't achieve that until you collaborate in a good way. Right. Currently, we are running a lot of IT projects, at least 27 to say, across 15 countries. Teams are from, say, every part, different time zones. And the amount of time or bandwidth we all get to spend on that project while working on the other responsibilities of the daily life is very few. So in a week, if you say 8 into 5, 40 hours, if you get 5 good quality hours of collaborative time within the team, then the focus is how to successfully utilize that time.
Sure.
Each minute, each second of that time where 15 country people are together 5 hours in a week, that's a lot of time.
Right.
So as a company, we have practically everything because our company grew by acquiring as well. So somebody is using tool 1, somebody is using tool 2, somebody is using tool 3. And everybody has their own favorites as well as not so favorites. So obviously that happens with every big organization, that which is the best tool for collaborate. That is a never ending debate, and with experience people have their own good points and bad points. But it is not a goal, it's a path to travel on to.
Sure. Sir, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, collaboration is actually our value stream for manufacturing. Especially I represent the manufacturing sector. We are moving towards the smart factory. We're talking about Industry 4, digitization, and so now my missions can, and it's a connected enterprise. And our missions can speak and collaborate each other, and at the same time, my workforce has to be collaborated. So that's where we had in a value is our collaboration. So that people, and as I said, we are actually looking at a 50% of productive hours we get from our employees, and by using different means of a collaborative thing, because we operate across a geographical, and then the collaboration plays a key role. And collaboration is a part of our business and a part of our digital initiatives. It's not been seen as a separate. So that's the start and the end of our collaboration.
It's a crucial part of Industry 4.0.
Yes, exactly.
See, if you see Saskin, we're using different technologies. If you see the DEX phones, we still use analog phones, which is maybe 15 to 20-year old. And if you see the meeting, so we may use a GoToMeeting kind of different technology. And if you see for audio conferencing, we use a different solutions like Chorus or Arcadine. And if you see IM, for instant messaging, we use OCS. So we are using a different platforms or different technologies. It's all not integrated. So I feel the collaboration can bring, or we can save a lot of time and a lot of efforts. And I think collaboration is going to play a good role in future.
Sure. So coming back to you, Vishal, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, the gentlemen here have shared their perspectives. You know, what is fueling communication, collaboration in enterprises, be it participative models coming in, or regulatory requirements, or probably Industry 4.0 fueling it. What is your thought on the entire scenario?
Yeah, so before I respond to that, I'll just maybe take 2 minutes of airtime. You know, listening to everybody's answer, I actually feel that I shouldn't have traveled. This crowd is so aware, and some of the very familiar faces. You'll be surprised, Rajiv. I actually came meeting Dev and Vinod, and I just hurried here, right? Bakshi sir, I don't know why. I think I've seen you a couple of times in some golf tournaments. CIO tournaments, CIO golf club. So it's such a known, crowd. By the way, we are in discussion with Mr. Sunil that. So your disparate experiences are not going to be there after a month. So you will be surprised. But yes, everything that everybody said is so true, and I'm so happy to know that normally IT leaders are so engrossed in the data centers and EN and security, but the IT leaders talking about collaboration which means that IT leaders are also worried about business. So it's not anymore a support role that most of the IT leaders are playing, but you guys are business enablers. And looking back 20 years or 30 years down the line, organizations, the way it has grown, the number one reason it has grown or the number one reason to grow is to collaborate. It can be collaboration or communication to your customers so that, like Bakshi sir said, maybe repeat business or what is new that you have, you want to talk about that. Karnataka boy wants to talk about the 20 minutes it takes for a loan, and that's a great competitive advantage versus your competitors, against your competitors. So I think you talk about Industry 4.0, 3.0, or 20 years down the line, and we've just evolved, right? The collaboration technologies have evolved, but it is the most important competitive advantage that an organization can have in today's time, right? So, I mean, everybody has covered everything. I actually don't have anything else to say.
So underlining the theme for today's session, the workplace of the future. So when we talk about the workplace, it includes your work, your workplace, and also the workers, your internal users, employees. How do you see technology impacting all three pillars when you talk about work, workplace, and employees? Anybody, sir?
I take care of enterprise service delivery. So though I work with my GTM team, 28,000 employees, and they are also like my customers. And every day, whatever technologies you are talking about, they are not really bothered about technologies. They are really worried about the outcome, and how quickly, how efficiently, how smoothly they can get that, So I think that is something like a couple of years before I started this, like whatever way, like automation, like collaboration tool, like we have multiple collaboration tool. Is it really giving a value to my employees? Like example, Yammer, we have developed like a tech support page. Why you create a ticket? Why you need a ticket? Just go update in tech support page, I have a problem. So it is like internally we have done a crowdsourcing. I have a team of, let's say, 50 people, 100 people, technical people. But the moment I'm doing that kind of Yammer thing, I have 28,000 technical people. And they are someone, so I'm telling you, today around 35 to 39% answers are coming from other team. Okay, I had the same problem, can you try this? So, yeah, I think this is what, I'll not say it's a future now, it's a now. The future is gone.
So you actually created your own Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Internal Wikipedia.
Correct, because
where people post
Yeah, so actually what we did when we deployed this Office 65 and we went to every delivery location and we started interacting with people and employees, they told that, it's very difficult for us to raise ticket always, Then I told, end of the day, there is a process you have to follow, but let's see how to change that. So Yammer, now what we are doing, basically your chatbot, it's a text, voice part is getting tested. So that is another thing, like, you go and say, okay, I need a ticket for this. So basically it will go and integrate with our ITSM platform. It will create the ticket. And then we have a bot development engine. Basically, we have virtual engineers. It will just take and assign. So this is how we have done. Yes, but again, it's a journey.
Sure.
I cannot say it is done. It will take a long time.
Anybody else?
Just to add, bots, the RPA tools, and the Skypes, SharePoints of the world are already there. Yeah, so between the departments, we are also collaborating and taking ideas from the other side of the business as how
Sure.
do we improve. So every small business unit is serving internally to internal teams as customers.
Right.
So that is making people realize that it's your colleagues, other team, no matter, but you treat them as your customers and how best you can improve.
Sure.
So that is leading to people to come up with new ideas, how they
Right.
can improve as a unit. So IT service desk, NOC, operation center, IT design, IT delivery, or be it architecture team. So every unit is coming up with ideas how they can improve and taking input from the other units as well, sales, product management and all. So that is leading to innovation in the technology space, process space,
Sure.
managing the resources well. And not only IT per se, but there are other aspects, human aspects as well. Employees, we recently did a refurbishment of the entire office. So we made sure that sunlight, the air quality, the way people are seated, open discussion rooms. So not only IT, but these things are also leading to better collaboration.
Sure. I also believe that technology has broken down barriers, boundaries of offices. So people now can work anywhere, anytime. That I feel is a radical change that technology has brought about. Do you agree with this, Ajay sir?
We work all the time anyway.
So instead of striking a work-life balance, is it kind of a negative that you are working 24/7?
No,
How do you balance work-life then?
we don't work 24/7, number one. I wake up by 9:30 in the morning and I sleep by 2. So I sleep, I'm having my good sleep hours and I reach office by around 2 or so and I finish 11:30 covering from various parts of the things. Yes, sometimes do the eastern coast, Philippines and all that, but since Philippines also mostly supports US, it does not become like a big issue like Australia. If you are having office in Australia, then yes, it is an issue, but otherwise I don't see. It is, of course, the speed of resolution, the speed of response, if
Yeah.
there is no units available outside. So I'm sure India has not yet done that. You can't send mails or you can't receive mails outside the office hours. It all leads to productivity improvements. So if tomorrow it is decided that a particular office or a company or a country decides to have work-life balance and not to disturb and all that, then we'll follow that. There is no issue basically. But I do not see it currently a big issue with us.
But you've seen technology changing, like you've been in this industry for so
Technology
long.
has been an enabler. Earlier,
Yeah.
our parents used to be home at 5 and there is nothing to disturb them. They are all yours. Today, when we are there, of course, we can't have that time, that luxury of being cut off from the world. So that is the times we live in and we are having advantages of that as well as
Sure.
a little bit of compromises on that.
Yeah.
So Vishal, what do you have to say on this?
Yes, sir.
The impact of tech on workplace and workers.
Yeah, so work is what you do, right? Doesn't matter from where and how you do it. So like, Ajay sir said, it's up to us. I can always, turn off my mobile if I have to spend some time doing something important, right? So, but it also tells me that if I have some free time and I can, with this device, I can communicate, I can collaborate and get work done at my convenience. So it is my convenience as well, and I don't have to stick to a 9-to-5 job itself, and people don't expect that if I'm 9 to 5, I'll respond only between that time, right? So, and thankfully it's not there in India, and that's why we are much more productive, I believe, and much more, customer savvy, right? I mean, we always want to do something over and above for our customers. So I believe, this is a great enabler. Technology is a great enabler, as long as you don't compromise on your overall well-being or family life, right? So it's up to each one of us how to use it. At the same time, organizations need to ensure that they give the right tool to the employees. Before customer experience comes employee experience. And all IT leaders, at the end of the day, they have internal employees who are their customers, right? At the end of the day, IT is actually a thankless job. You know, let's face it. I mean, if anything goes wrong, they are the first sort of punching bag, right? And it's so complicated, you know, for an IT leader to also look at, you know, deploy a new technology. There are contracts, there is comparison between various standards, various technologies, various OEMs, expectations, pricing, SLAs. It's a thankless job. But at the same time, they have to constantly, because we are so focused on the experience, and at every ticket, be it HR related, transport related, finance related, IT related, generates a survey, and we definitely want to improve the experience of employees, right? It's equally important that first, before you take care of the customer, take care of the internal collaboration, give the best experience to your internal employees, and they will definitely go ahead and give great experience and great response to their customers, right?
So be the POC first, right?
Yeah.
So like Rajiv just mentioned, you know, he's leveraging Yammer chatbots to enhance productivity, efficiency in the organization. What else is everybody doing in addition to this, or probably, you know, something similar to enhance productivity and efficiency in their companies? Sir?
So if you see, like, you know, the customer also want your turnaround time should be fast, you know, quality should be improved. You have to make a very less error. So in this context, you know, every company is leveraging kind of, you know, artificial intelligence, machine learning, NLP. So we are also in that line. You know, we are also doing a lot of automations, RPA work. But the other thing is there to maintain the persona, you know, of every employee. So as you said, like, you know, the new generation X, every time they want to be connected, you know, through the cell phone, you know, whatever they have in the cell phone, they want to do in the desktops also. Sure. So this is another challenge, like for the organization, to corporate, you know, to maintain the, you know, the user, you know, experience also. And this brings a lot of challenges. And if you see the DevOps, you know, how the DevOps are working nowadays, they want to be, you know, to use the freeware, source codes. And, you know, if you open the gate, the risks are also there. So you have to maintain the balance between the user experience and the, you know, your digital transformation journey. And apart from this one, you know, our company also doing a lot of chatbots developed, you know, to cater the new generations. You know, in our organization, a lot of people in and out happen. So whenever the new employee came, they have some, you know, some curiosity questions. So we have developed the chatbots for each department. They pose a question, you know, the automated response will come addressing their, you know, some HR issues, facility issues, you know, the cab pickup drops. Right. So everything, you know, the automation journey is going on.
Anybody else who would want to share some, you know, use cases?
One use case is not internal, but we for voice CDR training, basically in telecom companies, there's a lot of handoff happens between inter-carrier settlement CDRs. So last year we did POC in blockchain along with the Chinese telecom operator PCCW and US based firm. So for the wholesale voice trading CDRs. So 3 successful POCs we did, and inter-carrier settlement has to be done for the international voice services, and many other operators are on board as well. So that those kind of POCs are also happening to leverage the blockchain smart contracts technology. So how we can basically reduce the when the CDS settlement is done, the contractual space, there many times the mismatch happens. So it takes time between the operators to clear off and agree upon a certain value. So
Sure.
all that settlement process takes time.
Right.
And revenue realization takes time between the operators, especially international operators. So to cut down that process, we deployed blockchain technology and did initial POCs. We showcased it in one of the trade fair in US as well. You know, so yes, RPs are also there, chatbots is there. So these, how to leverage new technologies? We are doing a lot of such kind of POCs to collaborate between companies and within the company as well.
Okay, great. Sir, from a banking perspective, you know, with lifestyle banking coming in, you know, people don't want to visit brick and mortar building anymore. How are you, you know, fueling collaboration, communication in your bank with your customers, or probably also, you know, internally?
internally, actually, it's all automation. It's happening. Earlier, it used to take a lot of time for even for a banking this thing. A lot of paperwork used to be there. Now everything is digitalized as such. As I said, even for the loan journey also, even the documentation part is also, everything has been digitalized. So we make use of the digital signatures that is being captured along with the Aadhars. All those things have been put into place through the fintech companies, with the help of the fintech companies who help us. Again, for the internal communication, yes, currently we do, uh, we depend on mail service, email only, for a majority of our communications as such.
See, one thing I would say is that technology outside your office is always faster than technology inside your office, right? So the feeling that, oh, in our office, everybody at one point of time surely would have gone through, either as a new employee or an existing employee of 5-6 years, that, oh, technology in our office is slow, technology in our office is redundant. And while Rohan spoke about reconciliation issues, I am pretty sure, I'll just to use Rajesh as an example, banking industry, one example, 1985, strikes all over the country in banking industry specific for automation. And today, frankly, a bank can't even exist if technology is not there. And that is one example where technology forced banks to be a bank, right? We are not visiting banks at all. We need the facility. What a banker is supposed to do? Banker is supposed to invest money in the right place, get good returns. Earlier, whatever might be happening, today banks are run by two people. One investment management guys, second technology guys. He can't afford his machine to go down a bit or a transaction to go somewhere here and there. That part is now given, taken, accepted. Any flaw in that? So bankers are under pressure to really work on their core thing, which is where to invest, how to generate return. And coming back to our side of situations, that as an employee, you feel you have to work for them first, obviously, because employees generate experience for your customer, more so in our industry where 60,000, 70,000 irate customers call for something which has to be done now, prompt, immediate. There is no time for resolution. You put them on hold for more than 20, 30 seconds, the blood pressure goes up. And we all have gone through all those things. And there is no better example that in a typical call center CRM environment, where 10 years before it was a much troublesome situation. Now, at least the advanced companies have deployed systems where once a person calls, his variety of data from multiple systems is at least available on a screen for a person to decide what, how, and what of things. So that is a great collaboration, because earlier it used to be, hold on sir, I'm logging into other system, it takes time and the customer is sweating around. And I myself had experience of few airlines, not now, I'm talking 8-9 years before, from USA, my flight got here and there, international carrier, 25 minutes of wait time, just wait time. But today I don't think that is there, because technology has enabled more of the features where the person behind the desk is having much more control in our industry to say answer things. Actually.
Sure. I'm sure you interact with lots of CIOs. What kind of, how are they leveraging communication and collaboration to fuel efficiency, productivity in their organizations?
See, most of the it's just not CIO, right? These days, by the way, we as sellers actually come across CIOs, CFOs as well, because they also play a very key important role. And anybody who's in sales will tell you CFO these days play a far bigger role in any transformation.
Sure. I believe 60 to 70% of the CIOs still report to CFOs.
So see, there is CIO, CFO, and then of course there is various pockets or various different departments who are doing the own transformation projects, like the marketing, the digital, CDO, right? That's a new designation that's come up since last 3 years, right? So when we interact with them, so their biggest KRA or outcome that they want is flexibility. Second is user experience, right? And that's the reason that's the reason they are so open to cloud technologies, or open to OEMs or service providers who can offer them something like a per user model. At the same time, continue to develop the technology, continue to stay ahead of the curve, right? And that's the reason I mentioned the CFO as well. While the CIO will evaluate the technology, as in the nuts and bolts of the features, functionalities, compliance, security, and so on and so forth. The CFO's main sort of agenda is how early or how quickly can I get the ROI, right? How can I stay ahead of my competition? What is going to help me improve my bottom line? And I think that's the reason CFOs also get involved, right? So this is what we keep hearing from our customers, right?
Like you just mentioned, ROI, that magical word which gentlemen also referred at the beginning of the conversation. How do you gentlemen measure ROI of collaboration communication initiatives? Is it, through reduction in headcount or increase in revenue? What are the parameters that you look at to say, okay, this is the ROI that I'm getting from my deployment, from my implementation?
Not a straightforward answer if you look at it, because to achieve a digital transformation initiative within a firm, it's conducted at multiple phases, multiple projects. So every project will have its own cost and then the investment returns. So to calibrate one single answer, to calibrate the ROI for the entire thing is a bit tedious. But having said that, the long-term projects, say 3-year roadmap, okay, we'll invest this much, and these are the returns. So the returns could be tangible and intangible. So tangible could be definitely the increased revenue, reduced cost, and the numbers as well. Intangibles could be definitely the customer experience. The other bit is Ajay said about the recall, the brand recall. All those are the intangibles. So if you holistically look at ROI, how it's calculated, it cannot be one single answer. But having said that, it is done in different projects, different phases, in different. So operations can look at ROI from the numbers point of view. CFO will look at from purely finance point of view. Marketing team will look at it from the both tangible and intangibles point of view, how the campaign was launched and the ROI for the campaign. So it's going to be a gamut of activities.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very contextual. It is like saying, if in your lobby you keep chairs or a sofa, what difference it makes? What is ROI of a sofa being there? How do you calculate that? You cannot, right? So in our area, certain areas are very clear-cut. ROI calculation is very easy, very simple. You are running a program of 100-seater. So many calls are coming every day. So much is the talk time, handle time, wait time, all that things you calculate. So you know that per person productivity has gone up, which is a clear-cut given.
Right.
Now, if you say, if you deployed something of collaboration in HR department, has your attrition come down few points or not come down? But there are so many variables in it.
Okay.
Actually, I would be happy to hear from you. How do you suggest people to calculate ROI on collaboration tools, given the different context each industry may be having? But if you take it as a necessity that it is must to have, it is no more a factor of ROI or not an ROI. It's like hygiene that you have to have it. Then I do not know whether ROI question actually arises or not.
Right. But before we get you to answer it, can we have, a couple of other people's response as well on this?
ROI, it's a tangible, intangible, but especially in a pharmaceutical, we are highly regulated industry.
Right.
And for us, the certain digital initiatives are to maintain, sustain, and have the brand value and the regulatory approvals, and we still need to win the market, right? So that's where we have a digital initiative to have a paperless laboratories, and then like a smart factories, and that's how the user experience comes into them, because when you do it in manual stuff, then it is to take 6,000 hours to produce certain SKUs, but it now reduces to 300 hours. So that's where the straightforward ROI comes in, but that's not actually what we look at it. We look at it as a compliance to keep so that your business, you're in a business and you have your brand value been protected, because if you have a drug which is low quality, then you're out of the market. Okay.
Sure.
So yeah, the tangible is straightforward, which everybody can measure it, but the industry is quite debatable.
Right.
On that.
Thomas?
I think it's the same. See, some of the things we can measure it, some of the things we cannot measure it. So, but we wanted to see how this in this case, how we can measure it?
Sure. So all yours, Vishal.
Okay, so I'm in the spot. Yeah, so first of all, in most cases, ROI is calculated or submitted, partially because CFOs are also involved. It's much before the project is in the planning stage, or even before the contract is awarded, right? Because everybody needs to justify. Now, there are various ways to calculate ROI, and it entirely depends on what is the use case that you are trying to drive out of it, right? So if I'm going to actually, talk to Ajay sir, and if he's talking about, contact center, and I would probably look at, how can I improve the connect rate if it was an outbound, right? And by the way, that's how we won one of the largest private banking contact center customers in India, right? So how can we improve, the connect ratio? How can we get you the leads if customer puts a credit card? How easily it will flow into your CRM and your dialer. Let's say if I was talking to an HR, person, the amount of pilferage of CVs that happens in an IT industry, I would talk about the fact that how my platform is going to make it very easy that a person can be sitting at its home and still give an interview on a video, so that the person who you interviewed and the person who walked in is the same person. If I was going to talk to a bank, I would talk about the remote expert capabilities that we have, which is like nothing but a video contact center, which actually helps you, generate, complete your transactions faster, be it on the investment side or on the, fulfillment side. So it entirely depends, if it was, so it entirely depends on the use case, right? So currently we are talking to a lot of organizations where admin plays such a key role in the audio conferencing space, right? So what if I can look at your chorus call or your any other audio conferencing, add your telephonic cost and give you a cost reduction of 20% and give you a consolidated single platform for your calling, for your meeting, and for your video conferencing. That's a great story. That's a great ROI. And if I can show you 20%, not only by improving the experience, I'm going to improve the experience as well. We are not even counting that piece. So like, everybody said, ROI depends on what is the use case that we are trying to drive.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
Does that?
user experience, you cannot.
Yeah, it's an intangible.
But you put any number.
Yeah.
I think. See, what my personal opinion, I see in a different way. There are like system collaboration and people collaboration. System collaboration, probably you can try to get the ROI from your cost of resource, something you can, don't cut anything, but maybe you can use them for some other purpose. People collaboration, it is mostly what we focus on, productivity hours.
Yeah.
Think about you are spending 2 hours every day for your internal information. Rather, I'll try to use that in 1 hour from that for my delivery.
Yeah, so speed to market.
speed
Eventually
to-
what you are talking about is the speed to market. How can you, or time to market, whatever, right? If you can collaborate better within internally, give a great experience, people will be more productive, your projects will get done faster, your customers will get better response, you will be able to, if you have multi-geography teams like, Ajay sir has, or in case of Emphasis, right, you can respond to RFPs faster. So at the end of the day, you are improving the experience, and getting an outcome, which at the start of the project you may not have measured, but maybe that's the end vision, that, instead of taking 2 weeks for an RFP, can I complete it in a week's time, right? So
but many companies lack the baselining itself. No?
Yeah.
So if you don't have the baselining, then there is no way you will be able to.
True.
project.
So if the customer doesn't know what he wants to achieve, it will just be a project which will be, which they will spend the money, but not improve any of the key metrics, so to say.
Great. So I think we'll have time for just one more question before I invite Vishal for his presentation. So I want to know from everybody, what kind of challenges do you face or you faced in your journey to, leverage communication collaboration? Deploying cutting edge technology, getting benefits from them is amazing, but I'm sure it's not a very smooth journey. There are lots of challenges on the way.
I think one continuous challenge is Indian telecom.
Indian telecom,
Yeah,
okay.
for us. even though I'm using all communication technologies, best of breed, but end of day, the moment it go out of my office to other side, that is where even you have multiple discussions on Cisco and everybody is coming and helping. But somewhere you are still dependent. I
Right.
think maybe we have to wait for some more.
Maybe the gentleman from a telco would be able to answer this.
So yeah, thankfully we are not in India. We are global
You are
operator. So,
looking for a license here, by the way.
so yeah, this space is so regulated, as we were discussing earlier as well. That telecom industry. Today I was reading an article. I think the Ministry of this airline about that Air India's deal. So he was saying everybody else is making money except the airlines, the engine makers, the airports, and everybody is making, but they except the airlines. So that's the airline industry. So you see today telecom operators, they are pushed to the edge. The regulatory, license, tax, treasury, legal, financial aspects, and again the new thing, the GDPR, the data compliance. So while they have to service the end customers, they're dependent on the OEMs, the vendors, suppliers, and obviously the competition. So in this entire ecosystem, it's not that easy just to lay a cable and get the connectivity started. There's so many other aspects as well.
Right.
But having said that, yes, I do agree that and the other challenge is there's a lot of scope for innovation in telecom itself industry. In Europe, as I was saying, European Union is mandating every European country to have at least one city 5G enabled by I think 2020. I am not sure on the year, but they're mandating that. But in India, if you look at it, we're still there's
Not
so
really
Sure.
sure.
yeah. So forget about 5G investment. We are monitor for the operators who invested in 3G, 2.5G.
Sure.
For them to get the returns, they're struggling there.
But coming back to the topic, what kind of challenges do you face
Yeah, so definitely
as a
challenges is
technologist?
adoption, and within the organization and partners as well. The adoption is the key thing. So
Mindset change?
yes, the skills. People
Okay.
need to be open about adopting new technologies. So there's a learning curve, both internal and external, about how to use the technology in the right way and how to leverage the benefits. So there's a learning curve, and that skill, that maturity index has to improve. That is one of the key challenges I find.
Praveen?
Yeah, for us, customers are becoming more dynamic. They are initially just an example of spectacles. They used to go to the shop, look at the frames, put it onto themselves, and find out if it is suitable or not. But now it's been entirely different. They want to see everything on the web page, looking at their face, suitable. These kind of fast movement in terms of technology, they are expecting this one, and where the profit margin of the products are still less. So, but still adopting to this movement of the pace of technology should be kept in an equilibrium, which is always a challenge.
So I think the speed of trust is very important. The organization as they're growing up, the trust between your customer, trust between you, trust between the employee is very important key. So for us, we have the multiple, the customers, and they are using their different, the collaboration tools also. Somebody using, the Cisco product, WebEx. Somebody is using the GoToMeeting.
Right.
Somebody else is using the Skype for business. We are using internal Skype for business. To collaborating, between the one common platform is a challenge. Somebody is having their different workflow. They want to keep update, in these tools. So tracking between the internal and with the customer is challenge nowadays.
Sure. Ajay sir?
Actually, I see less of a mindset problem now.
Okay.
At least last 3-4 years, I see less of implementation challenges also. I think the new gen is more adaptable, obviously, than the earlier one into implementation things. It is actually on the reverse side of it. They demand more. They demand more fast, quick features to be available inside the offices compared to the earlier ones. So I see good. I don't see too much of a challenge. Yeah. See, because digitization has two things. One is the backend side of it, where you get into cloud or server. A user doesn't give two thoughts about what you are talking about. All they want is what they want. You say, I had earlier on a public or a private or in-premise, now I am here. It doesn't matter to the business user setup. That is your internal efficiency improvement of IT department, nothing to do with business. With
Right.
business, what you give them on the table is what matters to them, and rightly so. If you say, yeah, earlier now electricity will never go, the bandwidth will never go, I have done so much, that's good, okay, so. And rightly so, they are engaged with the business where they expect certain things to be done in certain way, and that is their right. And as a support community, we have to drive that right. On the other side, as an evangelist, we have to also drive them towards innovation practices, which we do. So I do not see more of a challenges.
Sir.
It's already said. See, there are two challenges we face. One is an adaptation. I'll just run my consumption index of what are the tools we adapted in an organization. So we look at only 30 to 40% of what they've been consumed, like either O365 or a collaborative tools. So when we go deep and understand, okay, what is the challenge, why we don't, have those so many tools, but why don't we use it? It looks like my end users are also confused. Like somebody said, I have multiple collaboration tools, either CISCO for Business or WebEx or something else. So that's where which is created, so that either they leave everything and they go for a traditional way of having those meetings and the collaboration. So that's a big challenge as a mindset, especially in our industry to get into.
What is the average age of employees in your industry?
Yeah,
Our industry is very young, so
yeah, your industry
is very different.
because we have all the scientists and PhDs and so it's in our over 30 years, 35 years age, right? The second is again is the last mile connectivity, right? That's the biggest challenge. We have a digital transformation and we keep all our hosts either in the cloud or in a corporate office.
Right.
And accessibility and connectivity is again another challenge that it's
Sure.
Yeah.
Thomas.
It's like us, I said, we have multiple technologies, right? So we need multiple expertise to maintain different technologies and the infrastructure requirement for each and every technologies. So probably one solution which can accommodate all these meeting, calling, all these function. So I think that can really get some value.
Sure. So Vishal, lots of challenges there for you. Your mindset, skill set, multiple tools that don't collaborate with each other internally.
Yep.
How can they overcome all these challenges?
Well, I'll tell you what, multiple tools, multiple OEMs, multiple SLAs, multiple contracts, trust me, it's a nightmare for a customer. And you will never be able to satisfy your internal employees if you continue. I'm not saying go with us or go with somebody else or this and that, but in today's time, when you have an option to simplify it, when I say simplify it, go with an OEM or go with a provider which can actually, if not all, cover, address the majority of the communication and collaboration needs, provide you the flexibility of paying, as you grow, pay as you grow, put it on cloud or on-prem, depending on what your organization's policy is, allow you to address it globally. Why would you not look at it, right? Second is, Ajay sir spoke about the young crowd, the Gen X crowd, and Venkat spoke about the kind of, tenure, the intellectual, employees that they have, scientists and all. But all of them still continue to use the most fancy of mobiles, gadgets, WhatsApps, applications, right? Facebooks, LinkedIn, whatever it is, right? Twitters. By the way, sir, that's the fastest way to get a response on contact center. You put it on a Twitter, your flight is delayed, and
Psychology is
yeah. But so the point is, regardless of the age of an employee, and this happens to us as well, right? I am 41. The person next to me always in my office is somebody who's 28-year-old, 30-year-old, and we also have people who are slightly older than me. But we have technology which everybody finds it easier to use. And when you are in a subscription economy, and we are all in a subscription economy, right? We subscribe to, we use Ubers, the Olas, Swiggies, everything is subscription. In a subscription economy, adoption is so important. It's gone are the days when we as OEMs used to go sign a contract, shake hands, come to a fancy restaurant and party that okay, we won a big contract. That's not going to happen. That's not going to work. If you want repeat business, if you want longevity with the customer, we have to continuously go back to the customer, ensure customer adopts the technology. And by the way, we have our internal KRS at collaboration technology. We ensure that when we deploy something and we measure the adoption, right? How, is the adoption rate increasing? Because once we see that the customer is adopting, we know that that means he's at least getting the outcome for which he's paying, right? If not, he's going to tomorrow move on to some other technology, some other provider, right? So it's such a competitive environment, and that's the reason customer experience, adoption for us becomes so very important. And that's, I believe, that's the way we transform our customers' business, right?
Just to add, consumerization of IT is
Yeah.
a new
Yeah,
thing which
yeah.
is coming up. So
Yeah.
all we spoke about. So
Yeah.
you know, that's a phenomena which is occurring.
Sure, definitely.
And that's the way it should be, right? Because you're earlier, you know, you decided this is the brand of laptop or desktop that I want. This is the speed of internet, which I'm talking about 10 years back. You know, we didn't give any rights to employees to voice out an opinion that no, you know, listen, you know, I don't want an HP, I want a Dell, or I want an Apple, because I believe this is my job. I'm a creative guy, and we never gave that option to anybody, right? Today, everybody comes with their own demands, and organizations have to be ready to serve that. At the same time, still take care of the fact that the underlying platform is standard, underlying tools, policies, securities are standard, right, and are deployed.
Great, gentlemen. Thank you for this wonderful discussion.